So for now, Hadoop has actually been around for nearly 2 decades, and the ecosystem matured through the adoption and contributions of many Fortune 500 companies at this point. If it's all built on Hadoop, if your entire solution is built on that, what is the value add from your managed service provider? So, Tim, why don't you walk us through this?
Yeah, I mean, just to give a little background there, Cloudera and then later Hortonworks, which was acquired by Cloudera, they're well-established vendors in this space. They've been around since the early days of Hadoop, and they were really like a catalyst in the widespread adoption of Hadoop in the big data space. But now, like you said, Hadoop's been around for nearly 2 decades. The ecosystem's grown, it's matured through the adoption and contributions of many Fortune 500 companies and beyond. So when you look closely at the Cloudera platform, you see a lot of open source. At the core, you see Apache Hadoop, which immediately creates a one-to-one mapping for open source alternatives for data storage and analytics with things like HDFS, MapReduce, and Yarn. Really, the key differences that you start to see is in the proprietary pieces of Cloudera, which is Cloudera Manager primarily, which is used for cluster provisioning, administration, and management. But now you have Apache Mbari, which is an open source alternative to that that provides those same functions and has a really strong and healthy community behind it. Likewise, there's Cloudera Navigator, which is another proprietary licensed piece of software that handles data governance and security features on the Cloudera platform. And those things can be accomplished through open source solutions as well. In fact, there's some foundations there already with Apache Atlas and Apache Sentry. You go further down that rabbit hole, and you've got new things that have come out with Apache Ranger that really has a far superior interface to either of those other alternatives for data governance and security with a lot of the auditing capabilities that it provides. As you look further, all the other aspects of the broader Cloudera solution utilize open source tools. You got Apache Hive or Hue that provide SQL interfaces, Apache HBase that provides NoSQL option, Apache Uzi for job scheduling and workflow, and of course, Apache Spark for parallel analytics data processing. Panning out further, that next ring of the concentric circle there, whether you're using a vended Hadoop solution like Cloudera or a homespun stack, it's all open source. As you add things like graph database, you'll see Janus Graph allows you to manage data about entities and the relationships among them. You get streaming input from things like Apache Kafka and Apache Spark. You take your job scheduling and execution to a whole nother level with Apache Airflow, and the list goes on. I think the key takeaways here is that the old vended solutions really no longer provide a distinguishable software-based advantage. The open source equivalents are strong and mature. The open source model puts you more squarely in charge of your environment, where you can adopt additions and improvements on your timeline.